Hi there. I've set it up to take advantage of the rainbows on the wall, clearly. So that's why it's looking the way it is. In an interesting space. I don't have any practices. I mean, unless you call being very regular about my morning coffee and my meds when the body hurts. Beyond that kind of thing, no practices here. But I'm taking a course. Tony's course on divining your truth, and it comes with practices. So I'm having fun with that. Really glad I'm doing it. For a time, we can choose to do certain things, and that's fine. I mean, it's being that we're about. So maybe I'll share some musings on a comment I made in an earlier video about not feeling the need to be spiritual. That's kind of a new thing for me. I think what it is a new layer of beliefs being exposed, believing that it's better to be spiritual than to be non-spiritual. And I suppose maybe I've stepped back from it enough to see mind peeking through and the spiritual ego, that probably a huge part of what we call the spiritual path is composed of for most of us. It's run by mind, and a really easy way to eke it out, to make it visible, is to look and see if we're doing something in order to get something, in order to find something. That's very 3D, and that's mind. That's what I'm seeing, anyway, because it's all just now, and the now isn't reaching for something besides now. The now is just being what it is, and it can contain doing just fine. I mean, you know, it's not like the now equals stone still statue. It's not like silence equals never utter another peep. These are mind ways of looking at things, to think along those lines. It's just thought. And thought's okay. I mean, you know, you can look at it. Sometimes it's fun to pursue. But it's also fun and more empowering just to watch it instead. And don't give it any belief. I mean, just because it's there doesn't make it true, huh? It's just a thought. And thinking of people as ahead of you on the path or behind or whatever, that's also thought-based. And for me, thought-based doesn't equal untrue. It just equals not being on the deepest levels that are available to us. We can go deeper into this reality. thought is what tells us we're limited and restricted to the 3D. Only that, only thought. And thought has been turned into belief. And our beliefs are powerful only because we are powerful. So, we lend them power. But we can also take it back. And it's fun. It's very enjoyable. So, is that all? No, of course not. Whatever. Okay. I'm really enjoying Adyashanti these days. There's a simplicity to him. And like Muji in the rest, I suppose, I don't know, I can't speak for the rest. Like Muji, he's very good at reading those who come up to comment or to ask questions, to inquire in his satsangs. Which as far as I know means association with truth. I don't recall exactly, but you know, people go to hear him speak. Starts out with a short period of meditation, of quiet. And then he speaks, and then people come up, and it's kind of neat what you can experience as you listen. They're all mirrors for self. Mostly we don't take them that way. But in the end, that's what they amount to. There is no end. What am I saying? Okay. Going deeper. Being quiet is mostly watching mind and pulling yourself back into heart, watching your breath. I saw in a comment somewhere that it was a good idea to count your breaths up to 4 and then start again. It gives mind something to do. And so an in and an out breath equals 1. And then you count to 4, and then you go back, and then you count to 4 and repeat. And it's delightfully simple. And, you know, it flips mind out. And it can really be a load of fun, folks. If you've got any space at all between you and mind, any breathing room there, to just watch mind's antics. You keep going back to center. So you keep going back to center, and maybe the dog barks, you know, maybe the cat wants in. You keep going back to center, and back to center, and back to center. And just watching. And mind is so creative. Oh my God. The things it will come up with in order to distract you, to get you to think. It doesn't want you to just be still. It's too uncomfortable there. But there is where all the action is, the real action. And even a minute or two of real quiet is priceless. I don't have words, but just being, not doing. Mind is always trying to get from point A to point B in one way or another. And it will wear the spiritual guise because that has been most successful with us. That's the way that it can get us off into its realm while we pretend we're being spiritual. And maybe we are. I mean, nothing against that. It's just not as deep as we have available to us. It's not the whole self. The whole self is so much more. And we know when we touch it. It's kind of scary. It's different. And so we watch mind. With patience, I don't know. Patience is a concept of mind. Right? It would be neat if all the meditators, the ones who have been doing this for years and have so much experience with this kind of thing, would get together and would share. And would be able to look and see how much of what they're doing in order to try to accomplish something. And to see how that's all woven in with mind. There's no accomplishing something in just being. Just being doesn't need to accomplish something. It just is. And yet there's this flow that comes through, and on this flow is the dance, is the doing that's not really being done, it's being observed. It's being watched while it happens, even though it might be your hands doing the dishes. It's not so much of a doing as it is an observing, a witnessing. And that's not the deepest level either, but the journey of 1,000 miles, what does it start with? One step. And in our now, one step, one step, one step. It's all constantly being radiated to us, revealed to us from heart. Our true reality is far more knowing and knowledgeable than we yet have a clue about. As long as we think we're these 3D beings, we're playing games with ourselves, friends. We have this whole woven set of beliefs that basically give us our limits, tell us what we can and can't do, can and can't be. Now the can and can't have thing, that's, it's all mind, every bit of it. And mind is one of the smallest portions of us, if we slice and dice and it's just words. It's not that. How does Daniel Brinkley say it? We are all great, divine, spiritual beings with purpose and dignity, divinity. It's true. Mind doesn't have a clue, nor will it ever. And if it ever did, I mean, it can think it does, but then what have you got? You've got the spiritual ego. And the meditators among us, I think, we know it's not that. Who am I to say I'm a meditator? I don't know. If whatever it is you're doing is designed to get you from a point A to a point B, it's mind. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not as deep as maybe you'd like to be. Like to go with it. How to go deeper? Each one will be guided in that. For me, it's most often a letting go. You see it, and then you say, oh. And maybe take a step back so that seeing it becomes more accessible, easier. Letting go, stepping back, letting go, stepping back, and yet at the same time deeply engaging this life. Ain't that fun? Contain the opposites. Why not? You're big enough. Come on, you're divine. You're source. And it's okay to know that mentally to start with. I mean, come on. How else are we going to know something to start with? We've got to have some kind of acceptance to it in order to ever be able to perceive it. If we don't have an openness, we are God, and that is our divine will that says, I'm not open to that, it shall not be a part of my reality. And so, how about more and more we take responsibility for our beliefs and for the fact that we have and we are crafting our experience here. I won't say here in 3D, because you're in 3D, 4D, 5D, 2D, 1D, 7D, whatever, you're intra-dimensional yourself. Extra-dimensional, I don't know, We're just not limited, folks. Look at a freaking fractal and say, hello, self. Yeah? Works for me. As above, so below. As below, so above. As within, so without. As without, so within. Self-mirroring self. I love math. It makes me cry with its beauty. Did you know that it's mathematics that's behind the fractal? The fractal is the visual image of the math that is just so, it can take you there, even though in this life, for whatever reason, I didn't specialize in that. I didn't get schooled in that. They put me too far ahead when I was young. Because I had this intuitive understanding of things, and so they put me in advanced math classes before I'd had the basic ones, and the net result wasn't so good because they didn't follow me, they didn't see, they didn't watch the A student who suddenly, nobody questioned, she suddenly gets a D, and I wasn't present enough to speak up for myself. Ah, youth, an amazing time. And yet, this heart has a deep, deep inner knowledge, a knowing, a devotion to the exquisiteness, the beauty that is man. Not the nonsense that the physicists do where they rectify this and that and they get rid of the infinity that comes up in their calculations. Nothing nonsensical, nothing like that, but the purity of it. And of course, from a 3D perspective, she doesn't know what she's talking about. But there are all those other lifetimes, you see, that are just as much I as this I. You have them too, we all do. And they speak, they will speak, but mind has to be seen through to a certain extent in order not to be believed when it comes up and says, who the hell are you to be saying that? What do you know? You know, just whatever. You have to know you're not mind. And you have to be able to look at your thoughts and not believe them. And then all kinds of wonder can arise, can be in the space where you are, that space of the now here. Mind has been put on guard to keep us amused and distracted, disconnected and unaware. Well, okay, that's fine. Come on, that's just what is. It's not a bad thing. There is no such thing as a bad thing. It doesn't exist. Not possible. It's all good. Now, believing it? That's another thing, huh? Can you watch without belief? Can you just let be what is? As you watch, you can watch mind coming in and displaying your beliefs for you. What you can and can't do, what can and can't be, ad nauseum. The more beliefs that are seen through, the more freedom. Look at it is each belief eliminated is a feather in your wing. You know? Whatever. Play games with it. It doesn't matter. You can't make a mistake. You can't fail. And there's no point B to get to because you're not at point A. You occupy all points simultaneously. You're already there. Wherever there is. That's yourself. You own it. You are it. What's in the way? Beliefs? Hello? Yeah. Okay. It's your playground, sweetie. Have some fun with it. Fall in love with crystals, with rainbows, with taking hikes, with trees, with dogs, with your spouse. What the frick ever. Play. Play. Mind takes everything so seriously, doesn't it? And you'll you'll be doing that too. That's fine. That's a part of the dance, right? It all changes, though, if you switch, if you take back your power and decide, I'm going to enjoy this. Then what? Then what? Well, that's up to you, isn't it? See you again soon. As soon as you find your way in your heart. We're all there. No, wait a minute. I'm not going anywhere. We're all there. We're all here. We're all, whatever you're yearning and longing for, look again. Look again. And look again. Isn't that a point A to point B thing? If it's point A to point B, look and look and look until you see mind at work. There's something valuable, something precious, something beautiful underneath it. But seeing through it just seems to come first. And the reality is fractal. And you're everywhere. Any change made anywhere in a fractal is instantly propagated throughout. It's a one thing. It's all that is. Infinite depth, go anywhere with it. But it's all one, and it's all in touch with itself. Cosmos is yourself. You're all one. You're all in touch with yourself, and it takes no effort of any kind to get there because you are there. You are that. So, shift. It's a radio dial, if you will. It's a matter of changing the station. All the dimensions aren't somewhere else, they're right in the room with you. You are that. Multi-dimensional. Endless, infinite. And that's not all you are. You're more. What about the void? The emptiness? What about before creation? If there's a before. I'm not saying there is. Play with it. Be the divine self. Claim it. We've been playing victim for too long. Again and again, take your power back. How do you do that? By seeing. By observing. It's no small deal, but it's not done with the mind. The self observing the mind is a whole heck of a lot more fun and more empowering. Now I'll say namaste. This needs no intro, but I thought I would take up the webcam, and it's later in the afternoon now. You don't see much on the wall here, but let me show you what my room looks like. Actually, I think I'll back it out. There we go. window. There you see moonlight. Sorry for making you crooked. Oh, maybe too much light to see the crystal on the windowsill. But, friends, look at the floor. And let's see. Might as well keep going around. Oh, you know, I can see rainbows here that are not showing up with the camera. Anyway, there you go. That gives you some idea. Arg, I'm not very good with this. So I'm just going to put it back. Probably cut this bit out so I don't get you horribly dizzy. And say good day.